Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you Kelly Corrigan. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you. Good to see you. Have a seat there. Well, Kelly, thanks very much for joining us today. I know you had a very busy schedule. You look great. Tell us how you're feeling.
I feel great. I feel probably the best I've felt in 10 years. You know, cancer, after you finish treating cancer with all the medicine, then you're stuck with all the questions about how to live and how much you're going to exercise and whether you're going to drink alcohol and if you're going to eat organic. And so far, I've made lots of good choices. So I actually had the extremely pleasant situation yesterday when I was getting my Herceptin that they said, do you still weigh such and such? And I said, well, no, I don't. I am 15 pounds less than that. And they said, oh, no, we have to recalculate how much Herceptin to give you. And so I consider that sort of a milestone.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You were on the Today Show, and you were sharing your story in front of millions of people. How did that feel?
It was great. It was interesting to talk to somebody with Katie Couric, because she's been through it twice, unfortunately. Yeah. So she was in her 40s and lost her husband, and a year later she lost her sister. So I was having a conversation with somebody who really knew what they were talking about and really knew what the experience is like. And afterwards I was sort of reflecting that I hope I was respectful enough. You know, my story, and my dad also had cancer at the same time I did. Our story had such a happy ending, and I just wanted to make sure that I honored her for not having two sure. Unhappy endings is a lot to bear. So
right. Well, take us back to the day that you were diagnosed with breast cancer. What did the doctor tell you in terms of chances, et cetera?
That's such a dizzying conversation. I had a biopsy on Friday, and they said maybe 7 to 10 days you'll know. And I really felt like I already knew, because the doctor who looked at my mammogram films had such a grave expression when he said, I want you to come back tomorrow for a biopsy. Wow. But my husband was really optimistic. And so on Monday, he was going to go down to work. He works at TiVo, and it's an hour from our house. And I said, I don't want to be melodramatic, but I sort of feel like you should be here, because if the phone rings and they say I have cancer, I'm not going to be able to take it. I'm not going to be able to wait for you for an hour to get to me. And so he stayed home, and he worked from home, and the people called at 1 o'clock. And, it's just dizzying. And I just remember hanging up and spinning around and saying to Edward, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm defective. I didn't know. I'm just going to put you through hell for this. And he really doesn't deserve it. He's a great person to be married to, and he's a great father. And, he didn't need the lesson. You see people out there that work until midnight and barely know their kids, and he's not one of those people, and neither am I. So we both felt like, why is this happening to us?
Sure. Yeah, and I saw the pictures of your two daughters. They're beautiful. How did you try to, with all the treatment, et cetera, how did you try to sort of balance all that?
Well, one great decision that we made early on is when I called my mom. We probably talked 10 times in 3 days. My parents live in Philadelphia. And there's so much to do when you first get diagnosed. There's so many doctors to line up, and there's so many questions to be answered. But then that are of, kind of really important timing, like are you HER2 new, and are you ERPR, and sure. Et cetera. But then there's also the softer questions, like how are we going to find time to do this, right, to treat me? And my mom said, maybe you should just hire a nanny, and we're happy to pay for it. And I said, I don't mean to be selfish, but I really would rather it be family than some person that I hired. Like, I don't want to walk around bald in front of a 21-year-old girl and be afraid to burst into tears because I don't want to freak my nanny out.
Oh, sure.
So we asked for help, and I think that was a great decision, because actually when we look back on last fall, when I was in chemo, there were a lot of great moments. There was a lot of tenderness, and there was a lot of quality time. Things slowed down a lot. We said no to a lot of things. The house was dirty. The laundry was undone.
It's probably
My
cleaner than
kids
our
were in
house.
floods
Yeah.
because didn't get new pants for them. But it was really kind of a nice fall because it was all family coming together to solve a problem.
I noticed that you have a website, circusofcancer.org, and the wonderful part about that website is you give pointers to people, because I'm sure all of us, we've probably know somebody who's had cancer and you're not sure what to say or what to do. Even I think about, do I say I'm sorry? And you give some pointers in there.
Yeah. Well, I think that the reason illness exists in the world is to keep you all employed. And also, I think it makes for really deep connections between people, and deeper than anything else can create. So I want everyone to participate in their friends and relations' illnesses, because I think there's certain lessons you can only learn in a storm. And so I think that to the extent that people get comfortable with participating and talking and asking questions of somebody who has cancer is the extent that they can grow from it, and we can all be, sort of better for it. I mean, we might as well take what we can get from it, right? I mean, if it's going to be here and we can't fix it, then we might as well get the most we can out of it. So the site will help you figure out what to say in the very beginning when they first get diagnosed, what to say when they start chemo, what to say and do when they're in radiation, how to handle the whole surgery thing. So it's all there. It's circusofcancer.org, and I think they're going to have little I think we'll have some cards there
in case someone wants to access it. But
yeah.
I think ideas in terms of just coming over and offering to help babysit or something like that.
Yeah,
I think you
well,
mentioned
people, the ideas were just culled from my own experience, and then also just sitting and chatting with other cancer patients. We got to what is the best thing that someone did for you while you were sick? And one of the great best things that happened to me is that Georgia, my now 4-year-old, then 3-year-old, was invited to a birthday party, and I just completely forgot. And the mother who was throwing the birthday party called and said, I'm going to pick up Georgia. I know you forgot Henry's party. I'm going to pick up Georgia. I bought a present for her to give to Henry. Because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it, right? And I'll be there at 10 and I'll drop her off at 1. And it was just I just don't want her to have to miss anything because of me. And it just makes me so happy to think that she's going to be at Chuck E. Cheese, overeating and sugaring herself to death while I'm hanging out.
Obviously, I don't think anything prepares you to hear what you heard, and to have that, I guess, radiologist or technician not look you in the eye after looking at that mammogram. Yeah. And I'm sure a million things must have gone through your mind.
Well, you just feel like you feel like you wish there was someone on your shoulder. I am not dreaming this. This is really happening, right? And I was alone in the room because, it was just a mammogram. And my husband was away, and I thought, oh, he's just going to think I wish someone could see this guy's expression. And I wish someone could hear the way he said the words.
It must have felt like an out-of-body experience.
Well, it feels like an out-of-body experience for a long time, actually.
Right.
As unfortunately you know. I mean, this is this is what life is. Mm-hmm. I was just in playland, driving my kids to school and planning birthday parties and making macaroni necklaces. And
I know, it's you were talking about you were born on a sunny day. My husband used to say that about me, and nothing really bad had ever happened to you, and suddenly the worst possible thing. And you're still having infusions of Herceptin, which is a fairly new breast cancer drug, and you'll be having those for a while. You're finished with chemo and radiation, right?
Yep, I'm finished with chemo, surgery, radiation. I'm starting hormone therapy, which is fun, and fun for Edward, my husband, and I am also on Herceptin, which is going to take my chance for recurrence from about 30% to 15%. So, thank God for Herceptin.